If you're a green card holder right now, and you've been seeing headlines about DHS stopping people from re-entering the United States, I know exactly how you're feeling. Your heart probably dropped. You might be outside the country visiting family, or you're planning a trip soon, and now you're wondering if you'll even be allowed back in. Maybe you've seen posts on social media saying green card holders are being turned away at the border, or that there's some new policy in effect that nobody told you about. I want you to take a deep breath, because what I'm about to share with you is going to clear up a lot of the confusion and panic that's spreading right now. My name is Saqib, and this is Global Immigration Updates, where we bring you immigration news based on facts, not fear. We don't do clickbait. We don't spread rumors. We give you the truth so you can make informed decisions about your immigration journey. And today, we need to talk about what's actually happening with green card re-entry, what DHS has actually said, and most importantly, what this means for you. So let's start with what people are panicking about. There are viral posts and videos claiming that the Department of Homeland Security has implemented a new policy in 2026 that is stopping green card holders from re-entering the United States. Some are saying it's a blanket ban. Others are claiming that if you leave the country, you won't be let back in. And understandably, people are terrified. But here's the first thing you need to understand. Immigration policies, especially those involving lawful permanent residents, do not change overnight without notice. There are legal processes, public announcements, and official guidance that must be issued before any major change takes effect. Now, that doesn't mean nothing has changed. Something has shifted, and that's why this conversation is happening. But the reality is far more specific and limited than the rumors suggest. What we're actually seeing is a heightened enforcement posture at ports of entry, particularly for green card holders who may have issues related to admissibility. This is not a new law. This is not a ban. This is an enforcement action based on existing immigration law that has always been on the books but is now being applied more strictly. Let me explain how this works. When you become a lawful permanent resident of the United States, you are given the right to live and work in the country indefinitely. However, that status is not unconditional. There are certain actions and circumstances that can make you inadmissible, even if you hold a valid green card. These include things like committing certain crimes, abandoning your residency, staying outside the United States for too long without a re-entry permit, engaging in fraud, or violating the terms under which you were granted your green card in the first place. Under normal circumstances, Customs and Border Protection officers at the airport or land border have always had the authority to question green card holders upon return. They can ask where you've been, how long you are gone, what you are doing, and whether anything has changed in your situation. If they suspect that you may no longer be eligible to enter as a lawful permanent resident, they can refer you to secondary inspection. In some cases, they can even issue you a notice to appear, which means you would have to go before an immigration judge to defend your status. This process has always existed. It's not new. What appears to be new is the intensity and frequency with which it's being applied. According to reports that have surfaced recently, DHS has issued internal guidance instructing officers to take a closer look at certain categories of green card holders. This includes individuals who have been outside the United States for extended periods, individuals with criminal records, individuals who may have used public benefits in ways that raise questions about their admissibility, and individuals whose circumstances may have changed since they were granted their green card. Now, I want to be very clear about something. This does not mean that every green card holder is being stopped. It does not mean that if you take a 2-week vacation to visit your parents, you're going to be denied entry. What it does mean is that if you fall into one of the higher risk categories I just mentioned, you may face additional scrutiny when you return. And if there are legitimate concerns about your admissibility, you may be placed into removal proceedings. Let me give you some examples to make this more concrete. Let's say you're a green card holder and you left the United States for 8 months without obtaining a re-entry permit. Technically, if you're outside the country for more than 6 months, you could be seen as having abandoned your residency. Now, in the past, officers may have been more lenient. They may have asked you a few questions and let you through with a warning. But under this new enforcement posture, they may decide to formally challenge your status and require you to prove that you did not abandon your green card. Or let's say you're a green card holder who was convicted of a crime several years ago. Maybe it was a misdemeanor, maybe it was something more serious. You served your time, you moved on with your life, and you've been traveling in and out of the country without issue. But now, with DHS taking a harder line, that criminal record could become the basis for questioning your admissibility. Depending on the nature of the crime, it could even make you removable. Another scenario, you're a green card holder who applied for and received certain public benefits. Now, this is a tricky area because not all public benefits make you inadmissible. But if you received benefits in a way that suggests you may become a public charge, or if you misrepresented your situation when you applied for those benefits, that could raise red flags when you try to re-enter. So who is actually affected by this? If you're a green card holder who has been living in the United States continuously, who travels occasionally for short trips, who has no criminal record, and who has not done anything that would raise questions about your status, you are very likely going to be fine. The vast majority of green card holders are not being stopped. The vast majority are going through the border the same way they always have. But if you fall into one of the categories I mentioned, if you've been outside the country for a long time, if you have a criminal history, if there are other factors that could affect your admissibility, then yes, you need to be aware that you may face additional questions and possibly even legal challenges when you return. Now let's talk about what you should do. First, if you are currently outside the United States and you're worried about re-entering, do not panic. Do not cancel your trip back. Do not assume you'll be denied entry. But do prepare yourself. Gather documentation that shows your ties to the United States. This could include things like your lease or mortgage, your tax returns, your employment letter, your utility bills, anything that demonstrates that you have been maintaining your residence here and that you have not abandoned your green card. If you've been outside the country for more than 6 months, be ready to explain why. If it was for work, bring a letter from your employer. If it was for family reasons, bring documentation of that. If it was for medical treatment, bring medical records. The more you can show that your absence was temporary and that you always intended to return, the better. If you have a criminal record, consult with an immigration attorney before you travel. Do not assume that because you were allowed back in the past, you will be allowed back now. The enforcement environment has changed, and you need to understand your specific risk. If you are planning to leave the United States and you know you're going to be gone for more than 6 months, apply for a re-entry permit before you leave. This is a document issued by USCIS that allows you to stay outside the country for up to 2 years without being seen as having abandoned your status. It's not a guarantee, but it's a strong piece of evidence in your favor. Second, if you are stopped at the border and referred to secondary inspection, stay calm. Answer questions honestly. Do not lie. Do not try to hide anything. Lying to an immigration officer is a serious offense, and it will only make your situation worse. If you are issued a notice to appear, do not ignore it. Contact an immigration attorney immediately. You have the right to defend yourself in immigration court, but you need to take it seriously. Third, if you are inside the United States and you're worried about traveling, talk to an immigration attorney before you leave. Get a legal opinion on your specific situation. Don't rely on what your friend told you or what you saw on TikTok. Immigration law is complex, and your situation is unique. Now let's address some of the rumors that are flying around. Rumor number 1. All green card holders are being denied entry. This is false. There is no blanket ban. The majority of green card holders are entering the country without any issues. What has changed is the level of scrutiny for certain categories of people. Rumor number 2. This is a new law passed by Congress. Also false. This is an enforcement action based on existing law. Congress has not passed any new legislation targeting green card holders. What we're seeing is DHS choosing to enforce laws that have always existed but were not always strictly applied. Rumor number 3. If you leave the country, you can never come back. Completely false. Green card holders have the right to travel. The issue is not travel itself. The issue is whether you have done something that makes you inadmissible under the law. Rumor number 4. This only affects people from certain countries. There is no official policy that targets green card holders based on their country of origin. However, depending on broader enforcement priorities, people from certain regions may experience more scrutiny. But the legal standard is the same for everyone. Now, where is this information coming from? If you want to verify what I'm telling you, go to the official sources. The Department of Homeland Security has a website. Customs and Border Protection has a website. USCIS has a website. These are the places where official policy changes are announced. If something major changes, it will be posted there. It will not first appear on Instagram or YouTube. Social media is not a reliable source for immigration policy. Use it to stay aware of what people are talking about, but always verify with official sources. And here's something important to remember. Immigration laws and policies do not change overnight. Even when there is a new administration, even when there are new priorities, there are legal processes that must be followed. Regulations have to be published. Public comments have to be collected. Courts can challenge actions that violate the law. You have rights, and those rights do not disappear just because the enforcement environment becomes stricter. That said, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. The immigration landscape in the United States is uncertain right now. Enforcement priorities are shifting. There is more scrutiny at the border. There is more pressure on immigration officers to identify people who may not be admissible. And if you are in a vulnerable category, you need to be smart about your choices. But vulnerability does not mean hopelessness. It means you need to be informed. It means you need to be prepared. It means you need to seek help when you need it. And that's exactly what this channel is here for. If you found this video helpful, I need you to do something for me. Subscribe to Global Immigration Updates and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. Immigration news is moving fast and rumors spread even faster. This channel is your place for facts, clarity, and calm analysis. No fear, no politics, just the truth. Share this video with anyone you know who might be worried about traveling as a green card holder. Send it to your family group chat. Post it in your community forums. The more people who have accurate information, the less fear and confusion there will be. And if you have a question about your specific situation, leave it in the comments below. I read every single one, and I'll do my best to point you in the right direction. I can't give you legal advice, but I can help you understand the issue and tell you what kind of help you might need. Thank you for watching. Stay informed, stay calm, and I'll see you in the next video.